Hi there, welcome to the latest episode of my 10-minute moan. And the topic of this 10-minute moan is to discuss the quite remarkable headlines we woke up to this morning, where the once famous Derek Hatton and the Mayor of Liverpool are among 12 people arrested for bribery and corruption. This story has actually been going on for a while. The investigation's been on probably longer than Branchform up in Scotland. And it circles a lot of bribery and corruption from Liverpool County Council over a decade, where 12 people have been charged with things ranging from corruption to bribery and abuse of office. And it's quite crazy. And yet again, it's the champagne socialists that are the ones that are struggling. You know, the ones that tell us that we've got to, eat bread and all this stuff. And while they live in millionaire paradises with luxury cars and massive villas abroad. All seems quite bizarre. And it makes me question how much of this has went on in British politics during my lifetime. And I've said this before, until recently I just thought Britain was better than this. I thought these stories of corruption and bribery were all things that you heard, from other countries. But with the advent of what's happened in America with the misuse of funds, billions of pounds through US aid, it's no wonder that we have been just as bad, if not worse, because it's gone on for longer. And the pride that British people normally should have of standards and right for wrong is completely blown out the water by these people. Now, they are guilty, and only after a court finds them guilty. So none of these can be dealt with other than as allegations at this point. But it's not right. Now, I remember Hatton from my youth. He was in office for about 3 years in the mid-80s, where he was a notorious militant member of the Labour Party and eventually get expelled. Came back 30 odd years later to get expelled again 2 days after that. Who took on Maggie Thatcher and lost. And they lost very, very miserably. What happened was the council at the time, they blamed Maggie Thatcher for stealing 30 million quid from the people of Liverpool. Basically, they weren't happy with the budget set for that council for the year. So they actually had a planned overspend of £30 million. And this is going back to the mid-80s. This is 40 years ago. So, allowing for inflation, that's some heavy, heavy money. And what happened was they bankrupt the council almost. It took them, I think, 15 years to pay off the debt because they had to borrow the money. They'd overspent this money and claim that the Westminster had stole it. So it's their fault, really. So they can't get away with this. So we're just going to spend the 30 million on the people of Liverpool. And what happened after that? It was thousands of people made redundant because the city had no money and had debt now, which it didn't have before they decided to spend £30 million more than they had in their budget. And we were all at that time led to believe that Mr. Hatton was some sort of knight in shining armour, crusading for the common man and, making sure that the thievery of politicians was not fair. And today he stands accused of corruption, bribery, nonetheless. His charges, I believe, I'll just pull it back up, are for bribery. And let me just get this for a second. I've just lost my space. And so here we go. So today, police have charged former Liverpool Mayor Joe Anderson and his ex-deputy council leader, that was Derek Hatton, with bribery. Where are we? There was a bit here that showed me and also Joe Anderson's son, he was one of the 12 charged. So was Derek Hatton's wife, Sonia, charged. So David Anderson, that's the son of Joe Anderson, he was charged with conspiracy to commit misconduct in a public office. And these charges are part of a long-running investigation known as Operation Aloft, which was launched by police to look into awarding of commercial and business contracts from Liverpool City Council between 2010 and 2020. Other people charged include former Assistant Director of Highways and Planning and the former Head of Regeneration. So you've got David Anderson, he was charged with conspiracy to commit misconduct. Joe Anderson, 67, charged with 1 count of bribery, 1 count of misconduct in public office and 1 count of conspiracy to commit misconduct in public office as a former Mayor of London. Andrew Barr, 51, charged with conspiracy to commit misconduct in public office and 1 count of bribery. Philippa Cook, 49, charged with 2 counts of bribery. Alex Croft, 29, charged with 1 count of bribery. Julian Flanagan, 53, charged with 1 count of conspiracy to commit bribery. Paul Flanagan, charged with 1 count of conspiracy to commit bribery. Derek Hatton, 77, charged with 1 count of bribery, 1 count of council or procure misconduct in a public office. Sonia Hatton, 49, that's the wife of the 77-year-old Derek Hatton, charged with 1 count of misconduct in public office. Nicholas Kavanagh, charged with 2 counts of bribery, former director at Liverpool City Council. Adam McLean, 54, charged with 1 count of conspiracy to commit bribery. James Shalliker, 38, charged with 1 count to commit bribery. All 12 are due to appear in Magistrates Court at Preston on March 28th. And Joe, he was the Labour Mayor of Liverpool from 2012 to 2021, all bar 2 of the years where this alleged crimes were committed. He was suspended by the party following his arrest in 2020 and did not stand for re-election the following year. Derek Hatton was a firebrand member of militant tendency that infiltrated Labour in the 70s and 80s. He was expelled from the party in 86 as part of a purge of hard left under Neil Kinnock's leadership. That's another crazy thing that happened then. So he had this big public spat with the government of the day, Maggie Thatcher in particular, and Neil Kinnock came to Liverpool to try and sort it out, had a meeting. Hatton walked out the meeting, after the meeting, and declared that Neil Kinnock had supported this action. So newspaper journalists were running away to write up the story, and one of them contacted Neil Kinnock, and Neil Kinnock's like, I don't support what's going on, actually, the complete opposite. And it was just, I just remember this Hatton guy on the TV through my youth, this sort of firebrand guy that was, you know, the self-proclaimed Robin Hood of the people of Liverpool, and he turned out to be the opposite. He ended up a millionaire, living in Cyprus for long periods of time, selling timeshare, and he had a tech company that he sold for £5 million or something with him and his son. And there was a banner up at one point with protests about him after what happened to the city, bankrupt practically, and it said Hitler destroyed half of Liverpool, Hatton tried the rest. Right, and so the people of Liverpool hated hating this guy. He ended up in like Pantone, mad things like this. He ended up a model for like what Seconda watches and just bonkers career. But you know, this mad lefty that liked the lifestyle of a mad righty. So it was all quite a mad time at the 80s for all this sort of stuff. And it now seems to have all ended, sadly, with these charges being brought, which, until they go to court and are found guilty or not guilty, we can't say they really happened. But if you enjoyed the video, please give it a thumbs up and put your comments below. These 2 things always help drive videos, and I appreciate when people do it. If you've not already done so, please consider hitting the subscribe button and notification bell to see future videos. And at the end of this video, you'll get a nice wee thing for YouTube here. They do a clever thing now. They put a video in this space that you've not seen from my collection that they think you'll like. But most importantly of all, unless you're yet another champagne socialist who is one of the more equal than others. No you. But
everyone else, have a great day. Cheerio, bye now.